where your feet are now be, where your feet are now be, where your feet are now.
I'm Glenn Richards, and this is WUFT Amplified, showcasing some amazing artists for your listening pleasure. On this episode, we're going to meet No Boy, which is singer, songwriter, and scholar Julian Saporiti on guitar and vocals. From his 2021 album 1975, this is Khmerica from No Boy on WUFT Amplified.
Some nights I'm a tourist to my kind. Landscapes caught within a frame, a glimpse of another side. I call you in my best Khmerican. Painter, pick up your round brush and fill the details in. Be my eyes, be my eyes. Cracked paint, someplace enchanted, the colors of your life. Sunsets playing on the temple, and you who survive. Be my eyes, be my eyes. Some kids move because their parents take new jobs. Some kids move 'cause of napalm. Cracked paint, a place enchanted, the colors, oh, the colors of your life. See Emery bathed in gold and umber and palm trees climb so high. Sunsets playing on the temple, and you who survived. Be my eyes, Father, oh, be my eyes. Be my eyes, Father, oh, be my eyes. I can play the old music now, we can dance to all the old songs, but I'll never walk with you through it. How? What a cruel, cruel task to belong. Ye said the moon ain't sitting right when you wanted to marry Mom. Be my eyes, Father, oh, be my eyes. Be my eyes, Father, oh, be my eyes. This is called The Best Goddamn Band in Wyoming, and this one's for Grandma Joy. The flyer read, musicians needed, so young Yoni grabbed a silver mouthpiece, tracked down a kid who brought a trumpet to Pomona, let Yoni have it on a free 2-year lease. Joy Teraoka, nay Takeshita, went to the tryout, she was only 16, with some girlfriends to cheer her on. Their club was called the Rodells. Mom said if you keep up with school, Joy, you can sing. Georgie Gawa, Oji Nisei, he toured up the coast, he even played Japan. Before the war, they ripped up the Florida ballroom, and don't sleep on them Shotokians. Under the mountain, they danced behind barbed wire. At below zero, it meant something to sing. Stuck between two countries in a fire, the best goddamn band in Wyoming. Little Ted's best show rep the Cardiacs gang, the clarinet kid, the Nisei Artie Shaw. Stopped by rehearsal in a tar paper barrack. Once he joined up, oh sister, it was on. They practiced daily, gigged on the weekends, stirring up those dusty mess halls. Teenage bodies unchained from their parents, but oh, those old folks, they really lost it all. The only swing band left in Wyoming that got 'em out some nights until dawn. War bond drives in Pal, Mormon dances in Lovell, bunch of Japs playing jazz at the Thermopolis prom. Under machine guns they dance behind barbed wire. At below zero, kid, it meant something to sing. Angelino's mixing up with farm kids in a choir, the best goddamn band in Wyoming. So Georgie Gower, he split for Chicago with Khmerica in the fall of 44. He left the band to Ted's Joy, went with her family to D.C. As for Yoni, he had to join the war. And that's a story from Old Hot Mountain, and the best band we never did see. Locked up in prison camps for no fucking reason, but they still found a reason to sing. The best goddamn band in Wyoming. The best goddamn band in Wyoming. The best goddamn band in Wyoming. The best goddamn band in Wyoming.
That's the best goddamn band in Wyoming from No No Boy on WUFT Amplified. Khmerica ahead of that. Both songs on No No Boy's 2021 album, 1975, available on Smithsonian Folkways Recordings. Julian, tell us the origin of the No No Boy project.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that we're here, you know, working with students and on a college campus, because it was just a school project for me. I was in a band called The Young Republic, this indie rock band from the early 2000s. And then I realized when that band broke up, I was still like 17 years old, which is what happens to a lot of musicians. So I was like, I should read a book, and I really overdid it. And I have way too many degrees now.
You read all the books.
You have no idea, man. I really did. Well, you probably do have an idea. Yeah, so this started when I moved to Wyoming to do my master's degree in American Studies, and I came across these fascinating histories like the one in the last song about this jazz band that formed in a Japanese internment camp during World War II in that state. And I thought that was fascinating, just as someone living in Wyoming, relating to musicians in different historical time periods as a musician myself, and then also as an Asian American who grew up in a very non-Asian-y place like Nashville, Tennessee at the time. There was something relatable about these characters I was finding out west, you know, who had just kind of really made an indent into the history, but it had been all paved over. No one really remembered it. So it was really cool as both a songwriter and a musician, having all this historical research that I did over the last decade give me this whole new treasure trove of material. But then also as a historian and as an ethnographer, as a scholar basically, and a teacher most importantly, have these different ways to reach different audiences besides those three people that would have read my dissertation, and then I would have just been in an archive somewhere.
Well, and just for my own sake, it's really great to be able to hear these stories and find out about these people. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, man.
So tell us about this next one. You mentioned being of Vietnamese descent. This next one's Boat People. I assume it has something to do with that, as does the year of the album.
Yeah, so Boat People refers to this group of folks who, after my mom's side, South Vietnamese, lost the Civil War in 1975. You know, the soldiers especially, but a lot of people on the losing side, they were facing death, re-education camps. Maybe they just didn't want to live under a new regime, and so they fled in hundreds of thousands. And they would board 200 people at a time on these rickety fishing boats made for a crew of like 10 or 12. And upwards of 1 million of these people left this way. And about half of them sank or came across pirates or just didn't make it. And sadly, it wasn't necessarily because the ships all just capsized at sea, although a lot did, but some would make it to ports around Asia and be turned away because people didn't want to let them in. They didn't want to give them safe harbor, quite literally. And so this song isn't about 1 million people, because that's not good songwriting practice. It's about one guy. It's almost a transcription of a radio interview from 1979, a Canadian broadcast from this doctor who was one of these boat people who ended up in Montreal, and it's his story, it's Dr. Tran. But it's also interwoven with thinking about my mom, who actually came over in a different way, and our family went over land out through Cambodia and then Thailand and flew to France, which is where most of my family is. And when you know a history that well, and I think especially if you have a personal or familial tie to it, some of these, what they call repetitions of history, become almost like insults when you see this stuff happen over and over and over. And these are mighty complicated issues that I don't have an answer for. But looking back at our past, you know, that's what this song does. It's not providing any answers, but it is providing thought, and that's a good place to start, which I feel like we often don't do.
All right, well, let's hear it. This is Boat People from No No Boy on WUFT Amplified.
40 years ago, the doctor left on a boat. He'd never seen the snow or felt it in his hand. Sail until you see dry land. I can't get off the news, I can't get off the floor. The good folks go inside when we need y'all most. What do prayers do behind locked doors? Tuan went back to rebuild, only to watch Saigon fall. Now he climbs up Mont Royal, he makes a life in Montreal. Donated winter coats and Barbie dolls. I wrap myself in books, they're talking about this band. I linger on bell hooks, she helped me to understand. Some of this ain't new, no ma'am. 14 hours by car, cargo trucks and cabs, just to shake the cops. But Mom had to stay back, a Chinese safe house and covered tracks, 18 meters long, 200 bodies full, a simple compass and a map from a kid's geography book. Forget Ferdinand or Captain Cook. Bodies bobbing in a rough South China Sea. across a tide, pirate ship scavenging. They ripped the doctor from his kids, bleeding. Then hours under guns, then tossed into the water. He swam back to his son. He held tight to his daughter, drifting through the night. As the daylight broke, a mountain in the dawn, off the Malaysian coast, sweet Pulau Bidong. He never cried so hard or so long. I can't get off the news, I can't get off my phone. My mother came here too. That was 40 years ago. So if you see somebody's cold, you give them a coat. If you're broke, if you're plain broke, if you're breaking down, consider the dawn, consider the dawn, consider the dawn. If you're lost, if you're losing, if you're lost on the way, consider the dawn, consider the dawn, consider the dawn. To the grounds of Harvard's yard, from the forest of Ubay, from Jean Wong's hands, to where you stand today, 8 million years. It took 8 million years, and then right here, the very first corn. We can always go back, even from the unknown. Consider the dawn. If you're low, if you're low down, if this whole thing is just laying you low, consider the dawn, consider the dawn, consider the dawn. To the grounds of Harvard's yard, from the forest of Hubei, from Jean Wong's hand, to where we stand today, 8 million years. It took 8 million years, and now right here, this very first corn, you can always come back, even from the unknown. You can always go home. Consider the dawn, 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 consider the dawn. Consider the dawn.
That's Consider the Dawn, Redwood from No No Boy on WUFT Amplified. No No Boy is singer, songwriter, and scholar Julian Saporiti. When I hear singer-songwriter, that's like a 70s term for folk singer. And you really kind of harken back to the original idea of folk singers like the 50s and 60s.
I'm older than I look.
I didn't say you were a folk singer from the 50s, 60s, but so, but you're telling these stories like troubadours of old. What are some of your inspirations, some of your musical inspirations?
Folk singers of the 50s and 60s.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, moving on.
That's my dad's record collection. The reason I grew up in Nashville is because he was a record promoter in the music industry and had this very charmed, weird childhood around country music stars and stuff. And in Nashville, there are real things like full moon pickin' parties out in the park and barn dances and like real stuff like that I would go to. And so I come by all that stuff pretty natural, I guess, just on occasion of when and where I was born. But I like that music a lot too. And for this project, for No No Boy anyways, when I had this idea that I wanted to translate my graduate research into something that was very palatable, it was kind of a two-pronged idea that, one, folk music is just a great way to tell stories. You can fit a lot of lyrics in. And it's real economical. It's just a guitar and a person singing, and you can travel anywhere. You don't have to just stay in the halls of academia or go to conferences or peer-reviewed papers or whatever we do. Just get in your Nissan Versa and you can sing for 10,000 people over a couple of years, you know?
So where's the best place that people can go to learn more about you and about the project and music?
Just Google No No Boy and then buy the book, and then all my stuff will come up too. Yeah.
All right, well, time for one more. This is Little Monk from No No Boy on WUFT Amplified.
So it's the end of the world once again. What is it this week? Protest over this, riots over that. Do you remember at the monastery when the outraged child cried and Little Monk just sweetly smiled back? Oh, how and when do I get so zen? Light the way from your small apartment, quiet days, worry within your reach. Tend your garden, do not harden at the cruel and constant spinning of your mind's demands. Pro tip for a good heart, be where your feet are now. So it's the end of the world once again. The sophomores bellyache and demonstrate over everything but class. Red suns and ash cover half the state of California. Little Monk just meditates. She slowly walks the path, says I can't control what I can't control. Light the way from your small apartment, quiet days, worry within your reach. Tend your garden, do not harden at the cruel and constant spinning of your mind's demands. Pro tip for a good heart, be where your feet are now. Be where So it's the end of the world, but you don't feel so anxious this week. Drawing canvas backs, sitting on the grass. Watch as they sweep the park, trash the tents while it's still dark. Though once I lived out of a car, I wouldn't say I'm mad to have the sidewalk back.
That's Little Monk from No No Boy on WUFT Amplified. Find out more about WUFT Amplified and check out past episodes at wuft.org/amplified. I'm Glenn Richards. Thank you to No No Boy for performing for us. Thank you for checking us out. We'll see you next time.
We're all agreed it's going to be a star white, right?
They dance behind barbed wire. At below zero, kid, it meant something to sing. Angelino's mixing up with farm kids in a choir. The best goddamn band in Wyoming.